and part four. So I went and sat on the lady's carport for about, I don't know, maybe about 35 minutes, talking to my friend who lives in Pennsylvania, telling her what had happened. And I said, maybe I can make it to a hotel or somewhere. And again, I didn't have money, but I was like, maybe I can beg them or just sit in the lobby of a hotel. So I just got up and I left the carport again. And by this time, it's probably 11:15 at night. Dark, stars shining bright, thank God. So I just started walking. At the end of the road, again, we're in rural Virginia, there was a highway, right? So I'm walking on the side of the highway, family. Tractor trailers are going by, okay? And I'm like, oh God, what do I do? And I just kept walking. I'm literally walking in the grass near the trees because, again, there's no sidewalks on the highway. I hear the voice of God. Again, ladies, when God, you got to know God's voice. God said, hide behind a tree. Instantly, I didn't even question. I moved back, hid behind a tree, crouched down, hid behind a tree. As I was doing that, I heard my husband's, that guy at the time, his diesel Mercedes. Again, the diesel had the sound. He was slowly driving, looking for me. I truly believe, had he found me, I don't know if he would have picked me up, told me to get in the car, drove me back to the house. God only knows what he would have done to me. I don't even know. God only knows. Hell, I don't know. Maybe he would have had a firearm in the car, and I don't know. But all I know is when I saw that and he was looking for me, I heard the diesel engine. I was just looking. I said, oh my God. And I was just froze, shocked. After he drove by, I got up. God said, go back to that lady's house. I got up and I started walking back to the woman's house. Again, I didn't know her from a can of paint. I knocked on her door again. Her grandson, bless his heart, he was like, Mom, it's that lady again. So then she comes to the door. Black lady, short, wore glasses. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. I live down the road and I'm married to KS. She said, say no more. Come on in the house. So I was like, okay. I sat down at her table. She said, do you want something to eat? Are you okay? I explained to her that I was leaving. Listen to what this lady told me. She said, I saw you and him at the Walmart about 2 weeks ago. And she said, I said to myself, God, I hope that he does not abuse this wife like he abused his first wife. Then she proceeded to say, listen, you can stay here the night. She said, I'm retired now, but she said, for 30 years, I worked with abused women. Look at God. So she said, do you have a plan? I said, I don't. I said, but I do have my wedding ring on. I want to pawn it in the morning, maybe get some clothes, like some underwear, change of clothes, and get a bus ticket, a Greyhound ticket to go to Pennsylvania. So she said, well, stay here tonight. I slept in a nice little guest room she had. Woke up in the morning. She took me to, I think it was the Golden Corral or something, got me some food. Oh, first, before we got food, she took me to pawn my ring. I went to Dollar General and bought some underwear and some clothes, toiletries. And then she took me to get something to eat. And then she dropped me off at the Greyhound station. I bought that ticket and I rode that bus from Virginia all the way to Pennsylvania. When I got to Pennsylvania, my friend, she was leaving town, so I couldn't stay with her. So I had to use what little bit of money I had. Well, I did have quite a bit of money from pawning the ring. And I got a hotel room. And I stayed at that hotel for about 5 days because I needed time to really think, what am I going to do? Because I knew if I left, okay, and I had to go back to my parents' house, I knew that I could not go back to this dude. You understand? First of all, because they didn't want me to marry him in the first place, so I eloped. And so, but while I was at the hotel, y'all, I remember that I kept that woman's number. You remember the woman that my ex-husband was seeing and had slept with even the morning that he and I eloped? And I called her, and she was very candid and honest, and she was like, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool, gotcha. So I know I can't go back to this lying bastard. Then I called somebody for spiritual support. I don't know who it was. It was, like they used to have on TBN, some of those Christian telethon places, and you call the number, you could talk to somebody. So I called and I talked to a minister and just getting wise counsel. And thank God the woman was not one of these stupid ass people who were like, you got to go back. No, she was like, sounds like you need to leave. Sounds like you need to leave and don't go back. And so that's when I called my sister, I believe, and I told her I was leaving and I was coming back. And that's when I left. And I never went back to him. I never went back. Yeah. But let me tell you how I end up paying for the divorce. Stay tuned. Part 5.